lecturing at Lagos Business School. I'm talking to an older audience. So the kind of examples I would give would be different from the kind of examples that I'm giving to you because you are a younger audience. So all of these things, you will put them into consideration. Now my slide has decided to hang. Right. The next thing you do is analyze your audience. Who are you speaking to? You need to know the people that you're speaking to. So how old are they? You guys are young, like I said. What language do you speak? Now, I'm speaking to Nigerians. So there are certain things I would say that you will be familiar with. If I'm speaking to a British audience, there are certain, I wouldn't use any vernacular or Nigerian lingo because they wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. So who are your audience? You need to consider who they are and how you're going to address them. You need to consider the demographics, their age, their occupation. Most of you, I assume, are single. You're not married. But if I'm talking to people in Lagos Business School, I'll probably be talking to married people. What are their psychographics? What kind of attitudes and values and belief systems do you have? What are your personality traits? How about your behavior? So right now, I'm talking to probably young people who are very informal. I'm sure some of you are wearing jeans and t-shirts. Nobody's wearing a suit. Or is anybody wearing a suit in class? If you're wearing a suit, raise your hand. Nobody. Okay. If I'm talking to people in Lagos Business School, they're going to be on suits, formal dressing. So what are the manners and the etiquette? How about the geographic location? So like I said, you are in Lagos, I'm in London. Where are the people that you're talking to? The next thing you need to do is analyze the occasion. What occasion is it? Is it a formal, informal occasion? So if it's formal, it could be office, keynote, lecture, training. If it's informal, maybe a wedding, graduation, funeral. What kind of occasion is it? Because the occasion will determine how you are going to address your audience. The next thing you need to do is analyze the purpose and the objectives. Now, this is a very critical part. Very, very, in fact, everything you do, this is very, very important. Every presentation that you're going to give will do one of four things. It will either inform, educate, persuade, or entertain. Every single presentation, whether you are doing it at a funeral or in the office or to your classmates, you're going to be doing one of these four things. You're either giving them information, you're either educating them, you're either trying to persuade them for a cause or motivate them. Let's like a politician or your pastor or your imam in the mosque, they are persuading you not to commit sin. Don't do things that don't steal, don't, they're persuading you or motivating you, or you're going to entertain, like at a wedding or a birthday party. Though every presentation will fall into one of those four categories. So you need to ask yourself, what is the topic of the subjects that you are talking about? What are you meant to achieve? What is the purpose and the end results? And what type of presentation will be required to achieve it? So if you're entertaining, you want people to laugh. So you want to be funny, that will determine the clothes you will wear, the kind of things you will say, how you will say it. Maybe I want to make you sober. I want you to contribute money to the victims of the war in Ukraine. I'm going to speak in a very sober way. Maybe I will wear black. Maybe I will bring up a lot of information about how people are dying. Why? Because I want you to bring out your money so that you can contribute to the victims in Ukraine. I'm not going to be laughing with you. So what is the purpose of your presentation? You must get that right. The next thing you will do is analyze your knowledge of the subject matter. So you've been told that you're going to give a motivational presentation to help the poor people, the victims of war in Ukraine. How much do you know about that subject matter? How much do you know about the victims of the war in Ukraine? Do you even understand what caused the war? So you need to ask yourself, do I understand the subject matter? I've been asked to give this presentation. How much do I know? What information or experience do you already have? So maybe you have worked in a charity for war victims. So you know a lot about victims of war generally. That will help you in making your presentation. But what more information do you need? So maybe you've worked in a charity about war victims, but this presentation you're giving is specifically about the war in Ukraine. So what more information do you need to add to what you already know? Maybe you need to find out what caused the war, how many people are affected, what is the population of Ukraine, how many refugees have left the country and are trying to escape. All of that information you need to find out. And where can you get this extra information that you need? You can get it where? Your education, your training, your statistics, books, experiences. Where else can you get it? You can get it from the internet as well. Go online, search, get all the information that you need, because when you're presenting, you have to be able to answer questions that they might throw at you and provide more lights on the topic. Now let's talk about ethics in presentation. There are ethics, and we must be clear about what we need to do in the right way. You must be factual. So you're talking about the war in Ukraine. Get your facts accurate. Don't just give figures that are not true. Get your facts, and you can also quote the sources. Be honest. Don't say that what you don't know. If you're talking about personal experiences, don't give an experience that you don't have. Don't make it up. Just be honest and be credible. Do not abuse. You have to be very sensitive, especially when we are talking outside Nigeria. A lot of things we do in Nigeria, you cannot do them outside the country. So if you're talking to an international audience, you have to be very careful. They have what they call diversity and inclusion. So you can't say anything against women. You can't say anything against somebody that has a disability. You just have to be very careful about what you say. So do not be abusive, and then state your sources. Where did you get your information? State it and be ethical. So what is plagiarism? Plagiarism is the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as your own. So wherever you get your information, you need to tell us that I got this information from this particular thing. At the end of this presentation, I have a list of sources where I got all my information. Okay? So state your sources, quote the name of the author, the title of the work, and the date and the source. Now, you've got all your information about the war in Ukraine, how many refugees left, how many women and children have been left stranded, the impact of the war, the date the war started, how many times they blew, the bombs have hit the country, and all of that. You've gotten all this information here and there. How do you now put it all together to give your presentation? They have given you 30 minutes. How do you put everything together? So here, we're going to look at that. First and foremost, every presentation will have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. When I started my presentation with you, I started with some quotes, and I showed you a video before I introduced myself. So how are you going to start? What will be your introduction? Your introduction must be very powerful because you need to capture everyone's attention. You don't want people slipping off on you. So what introduction would you give? And then you come into the main body of your conversation. That is where you bring all your facts and your evidence and what you want them to do. And then you come to the conclusion. So when you're bringing your work together, you might want to start from the middle, bring in all the facts, the information, and everything. Then you can now go back and create an introduction and a conclusion. It's usually easier that way. So how do we arrange all our information? There are various ways of arranging the information. You could use the chronological order, that is like the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, as the things happen one after the other. You could use time patterns. So if you're talking about seasons, maybe in autumn or spring or winter, which season, you could use timing patterns, or it could be a 24-hour time frame. At 6 o'clock, this is happening. At 12 o'clock, that is happening. At 3 o'clock, this is happening. You could use a spatial order. When we say spatial, we're talking about space. So you could say that the war between Russia and Ukraine, we will start with Russia. And the capital of Russia is this particular area. This is what happened. And then they moved to Kyiv. That is the capital of Ukraine. You're talking about the spaces. If you're talking about maybe a house, for example, you could say in the living room, and we move from the living room to the kitchen. That's spatial. You could use problem or solution. So you state the problem. Women and children in Ukraine have been traumatized by war. That is the problem. The solution is that we need to send them financial aid to rescue them and help them resettle in other countries. Problem, solution, or cause and effect. The cause of the war was a dispute between Putin and Zelensky. That was the cause. What is the effect? The effect is that innocent people who have no say in the matter of this war are the ones that are being affected. Cause and effect. Or you could use topical order. Start from one topic and move to the other. What I am doing now, I could say it's topical. So we've started from what a presentation is, how to make a presentation, how to arrange your data and your information. So I'm taking it topic by topic. These are various ways in which you can arrange your presentation. Right. So we go into the body. So you've talked about a problem solution order or a problem cause solution order or Monroe's motivative sequence. That is motivative speaking. If I want to motivate you to bring out your money and send money to the victims of Ukraine, I'm going to use any of these three ways to get your attention, to show you, oh, how poor people, how the children are suffering, how women are suffering, how men are suffering going into the war. I want you to bring out money so that you can send money to them and relieve them of their, of the stress they are going through. So I need to grab your attention. I need to establish a need. You need to see yourself in that situation, and then I need to take you to a satisfaction step, visualize the step, and then motivate you to action. How about if I'm doing my introduction? So let's come into the introduction part of it now. I am introducing, I'm going to start my presentation. How do I start it? And like I said, you have to use something that will calm everybody down, get their attention, and then take them on a journey into your presentation. So I said, I started my presentation by sharing some quotes, right? You could share a poem, you could share a quote, you could share a story, you could share a poem, a quote, a story. You could tell a joke. I don't like telling jokes. My jokes are not very good. But you could share a poem, a quote, a story. You could ask a rhetorical question. What's a rhetorical question? It's a question that I don't expect an answer to. So I could say, how many people do you think have died in Ukraine to date since the war started? You could come up with a startling statement. A startling statement, I could say, a total of 350 million people have been displaced since the war in Ukraine started. Now that is startling. 350 million people. Wow, that's a huge number. I could start with a startling statement, or we could use what we call icebreakers. Icebreakers could be games. Like if I was physically in the class with you there, I could play a game with you, just to bring everybody together and calm everybody down and get their attention. So these are all different ways in which we can start off our presentation. The next thing you need to do is establish your goodwill. So I have Amara is standing in front of the class telling you to bring out money to give to the people in Ukraine. The first question you're going to ask yourself, who is Amara? Who is she? Why should she be telling us that we should give money to war victims in Ukraine? What authority does she have? What experience does she have? Why is she telling me? You're going to ask yourself those questions, just like you're going to ask me that, okay, this lady that is asking us, telling us about presentation, who is she? Where does she come from? What does she know? So I need to establish my goodwill. And how do I do that? I need to talk about my years of experience. So if I tell you that I have had 30 years of doing presentations, you say, okay, this madam has a lot of experience in presentations, so she knows about it more than I do. You're likely to listen to me. Or I tell you where I have been. I told you that I lecture at Lagos Business School. So if for me to lecture at Lagos Business School, obviously I have good presentation skills, don't I? So you need to establish your credibility. And these are the things you can do. So talk about your experience. So Amara is telling you about how to contribute money to the victims of Ukraine. If she tells you that she's been a victim of war, you will listen to her. She says, yes, during the Nigerian civil war, my parents hid me in the bush for 3 months as a result of the war. It was by the grace of God I survived. Everybody will listen to her, right? Because you'll be like, oh my goodness, she was a victim of war. She's experienced it. She knows what it's like. You're going to listen to her. So you need to establish your credibility. What education do you have on the subject matter you're talking about? What experience do you have? And why is the subject matter important? Do you have statistics and facts to back your claim? So when you come before people, you need to establish that credibility. Who are you? What do you know about what you are talking about? how can we relate that to you as an individual? The more credibility you have, the more people are going to listen to you. Now, your introduction, preview the main points. So you've talked about, you've done your icebreaker or your poem or your quote. You've done the first part. You have established your credibility. So you saw how I started my presentation. I started with some quotes and a video. I said, let me meet you, and you also met me, even though I didn't talk much about it. Then the next thing is that you come up with your agenda. What are you going to discuss? So you saw I came in with my agenda. So, okay, we are starting the presentation, and this is what we are going to discuss in this session. So you need to tell us what you're going to cover. So Amara is presenting, telling us that we should give money to the war victims in Ukraine. So she will probably tell us how the war started, why it started, what went wrong, how victims had to flee their homes, how refugees are suffering at the border, and how we can help. So there has to be a sequence. Remember the slide I showed you about the sequence? So it will probably be a chronological order. What was the problem? Why is there a problem? How has the problem affected the victims, and what we can do to help? So you need to review the main points of what you're going to be discussing about. And then you come in with your conclusion. So you've given the agenda, you have presented the main body, you've told us everything about the Ukrainian war and how we can help. So we now come in with our conclusion. Summarize your main points. So if it's an informative presentation, you will summarize the main points. If it is a motivation, you are going to give us a call to action. And in our example of the Ukrainian war, the call to action is that sow a seed to help the victims of war. And then maybe you give us the bank accounts that we will pay our money into so that we can sow that seed. If it's a persuasive presentation, you will give us a challenge or appeal to say you can win by being ethical, do the right thing. That's the challenge. Or you can say, go and do your PhD. It's a wonderful thing for you to achieve. Go ahead and further your education. What is the challenge that you're giving us? So whatever the purpose of your presentation is at the beginning, that is how you will conclude it. You have to bring it to a reasonable conclusion. So you can bring back your quote or your joke or your story, but you must bring the conversation to a logical conclusion. So now we are going to play a quick game. It's called Continuous Story. I need 3 volunteers. Okay, 4. Very quickly. 2 ladies and 2 gents.
All right, I'll pick for you.
Yeah, help me pick 2 ladies and 2 gents.
Solomon, the guy in white. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Very quickly. You guys are slow on your feet. Okay, so this is how we are going to do it. It's called Continuous Story. I'm sure this spelling is wrong. So one class member will start. I will start the story. Are we together? Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
So I will start a story and I will speak for 30 seconds. And the next person, so I have 4 people here. The guy in white shirt, you're number 1. The lady in blue, you're number 2. The other gentleman in black, you are number 3. And the last lady is number 4. Right. So I will start the story and I will just speak for 30 seconds. You do not know the story. You're going to make it up as we go along. So I will start the story. The guy, number 1, will continue the story for 30 seconds. You have to be very smart, fast and smart. And then he will stop and the next person will continue the story, right? And the last lady will conclude. You must bring that story to a very beautiful, logical conclusion. Are we together? Okay, so Mr. Number 1 that has stood far away, please come closer. Okay, right. So I'm going to start my story now. So once upon a time, there were two children, Jack and Jill, who were twins, and they lived in a village with their grandmother. The grandmother was very, very poor and couldn't afford to send them to school. But Jack and Jill were determined that they were going to get an education. Jack wanted to be a medical doctor, and Jill wanted to be a scientist. One morning, as they were off on their way to the farm, they met the local school teacher, and they told the school teacher what their challenge was, because they were not in school at that time. They couldn't afford to go to school. But the school teacher encouraged them and told them that they should not worry. If they are determined to go to school, that God will make a way for them and they will be able to go to school. However, they should be on their way to the farm and, help their grandmother out. So Jack and Jill, on their way to the farm, they got to the farm, they did their farm work. And as they were digging the farm, they found a box and they were wondering what was inside the box. Okay, Mr. Number One, go ahead, continue the story. Quickly.
They find the box, the pot. They open the pot and they find out that they find calories inside the box.
You have not finished though. They found calories inside the pots. Okay.
I'll tell you can I start over again?
Continue now. You want to start all over again? No, we are continuing from where you left off. They found calories. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. They open the pot and they find out that there's a calorie inside the pot. When they bring out the pot from the ground, so they place in the safer place in order for them to be able to check the pot very well, to take out the calories they find inside, so that they will be able to leave the farm in order for other people not to catch up with them while they are checking the pot.
Okay, number two.
Okay. Jill decided he will further his education with the calories he saw, while Jack decided to be a trader. So Jill was able to start up a business and he was doing very well. He was taking care of the poor parents, and Jack could go to school, and he too, he finished, and he became a medical doctor.
Okay, I am going to bring in a swing into that story. So thank you, number two. One day, while he said Jack became a medical doctor. One day, while Jack was in the hospital attending to patients, somebody came in and asked for him. And Jack came and said, "Yes, can I help you?" And the gentleman said his name was Peter. And he found out that Jack found a pot with cowries inside it some 10 years ago. That pot belonged to him and he wants his cowries back. Right. Number three, continue the story.
However, Jack was doing very well for himself at that point in time. So when the man came and said he owns the box, Jack was very rich and was well to do, so he was able to pay the man even with interest. He thanked him for the opportunity he gave to him, because that money actually made him further his education and became a renowned medical doctor.
Okay, thank you, number three. Now, number four, help us bring the story to a close.
The man came back and said he wanted more money. That money was not enough. And as it was the source of Jack's wealth, he needed more money. Jack refused. Then the man said, "Fine, refuse. I'll go to the police." He went to the police. Investigation was made. It was found out that Jack and his twin brother actually stole the money. They were taken to the police station, and the result of the case was that they were to be sentenced to life in prison.
Okay. I've lost sound. Sorry, I can't hear anymore.
Yes, we should not steal, no matter the circumstances.
Okay.
They wanted to go to school, they could not afford it. They found the money, the right thing to do was to return it back. But they stole it. At first, it turned out to work for them, but eventually, it turned out worse for them.
Okay, very good. Please clap for her. Clap for her. Nice one. Nice one. Nice one. That's a good one. Nice one. Well done, everybody. That was a good one. Now, what was the purpose of that exercise? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. So the purpose of the exercise, you can see it was a lot of impromptu. You had to think on your feet. And I love the way the last person rounded up the story. That was very, very, in fact, that's probably the best conclusion I've heard to some of these stories so far. So well done, everybody. That was a good one. So you can see, you have to be able to think quickly on your feet sometimes when things are thrown at you, impromptu. So now let's prepare our delivery. So we've talked about putting all our documentation together. You've got the information, I'm sure I've overshot my time. You've got the information and everything. How do you actually do the presentation itself? You have to do what? Practice, 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 practice. In front of a mirror. Do it at home, in front of a mirror, in front of people, maybe your family members. Get them together, let them sit down and practice. They will tell you all the things that you are doing wrong. Record it on your phone. All of us that do Instagram and TikTok, record it on your phone and watch yourself. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How do I speak? Wear the clothes you want to present in. Sometimes you think of the dress in your mind and say, oh, I'm going to wear that dress. You forgot that you've added weight. It's now a bit tight. You don't want to be on stage and you are adjusting your shirt, or you are pulling your skirts down. Ladies, you don't want to be pulling your skirts down every time when you're in front of people. You don't want to wear something that is too short or too long. Rehearse your timing. Get your timing right. Manage the use of your language. Be clear and concise. Don't ramble. And then avoid, there's something we do. And Jack did, and this and that. Don't say at every minute. You need to learn to speak fluently and freely. Use correct words and be conscious of your audience, okay? Choose words that call up ideas, pictures, and experiences. Never use profanity or offensive language, and always use language that everybody can understand. So like I said, if I'm talking to people here in the UK, there's certain vocabulary I wouldn't use, all right? So how about nonverbal communication? Your voice, your tone of pitch, how fast you speak. Pauses, it's okay to pause, but don't over pause. And then, like I said, watch the you know. I remember somebody came from an interview and every second, you know, all I could hear was, you know. So you need to watch those catchphrases, okay? Pronounce your words properly. Use correct pronunciation. Now, a lot of English words, we speak English, but we don't pronounce the words accurately. We have to watch that. Pronounce your words accurately, especially, don't use D instead of H and TH. So don't say, the cat jumped out of the bag. It is the cat jumped out of the bag, not the bag. H and O factor. It is hospital, not hospital. It's not how, it is are. So watch the way you pronounce the words. So we're going to have a quick class activity before I close off. How would you pronounce the first words? I want how many volunteers? 5 volunteers. Quick. What's the pronunciation of the first word? Quickly. I can't hear you. Okay, so first words, number 1.
Remaining one person. It's remaining one person.
You said what?
Yeah.
Yes, Abby, is it correct? Yes or no? Is it correct? Class, is it correct? Yes. This is how you pronounce it. It is yacht. Okay. Second person. Number, don't go. Stay there. Here's another one I want you to do. Mr. Number one, don't go. Yes, your work has not. The second person, how do you pronounce the next word?
Brochure.
Bro. Okay. Is it correct? Yes, brochure. Next person, number three. How do you pronounce that word? Jen what? Huh? Is she correct? Yes or no? No. Is genre. Genre. Okay, you can go to Google. When you say pronunciation of this word, Google will tell you the pronunciation. The next person, number four, how do you pronounce this word? Number four, I can't hear you. What did you say? I couldn't hear you. I can't hear you. You said what? Kwe. Okay. The correct pronunciation is key. Key. Last number five. How do you pronounce this word? Photographer. It's not photographer, my dear. It's photographer. I know in Nigeria we say photographer. It is not photographer. We have a tendency of pronouncing everything. It's photographer. Say it with me. Photographer. Okay, clap for them. They did well. Put your hands together for them. Okay, so let's go on. Let's look at movement and gesture. So we have different things. We have emblems, illustrators, signposts, and adapters. So emblems, they're simply non-verbal behavior that illustrates a word or a phrase. So you can see like V, we say V, victory, a closed fist, solidarity, you know, but in some cases it could be offensive. So you need to know where you're using it. I remember Michelle Obama went to a country and she was doing V, victory. Apparently in that country, that V meant something else and they were offended by it. So before you leave Nigeria and do, for example, in Nigeria, if you say waka, you know, you use your hand and say waka. So you can imagine if a European comes to Nigeria and he's doing his hand like this, you know, you'll be offended. You'll be like, why is this man telling me waka? You understand? So different things mean different things to different people in different climate. So be conscious of that. Illustrators illustrate verbal messages demonstrating some. So if I say this is a circle, or I could say a square or a T, they're just ways of using your hands to demonstrate certain things. How about signposts? Pointing with your fingers, counting down. So I could say 1, 2, 3, or I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. How about adapters? Now, this one is a funny one. When we touch ourselves, taking off your glasses and putting them on frequently, it can be distracting. Playing with your hair, playing with your tie, and things like that. You could lose credibility if you're always touching your clothes or playing with your hair or funny things, zipping your zip up and down. Don't do that when you're presenting. Remember to keep eye contact. Don't look at the floor. Look at your audience because you need to calm nerves, right? And I'm going to quickly go into clothing. Ladies, this is very important. Wear something appropriate. Avoid tight clothes. Guys, watch your trousers. I remember there's a day somebody was in front of us speaking and his zip was undone. Who's going to tell him that his zip was undone? So watch the things you're wearing. No bulging pockets. Guys, don't put all your phone, your wallets, all your things inside your pockets when you are standing in front of people. It's distracting. Make sure your hair looks nice, your wig, your beard. Do light makeup. You don't need bridal makeup for a presentation. And ladies, wear comfortable shoes when you're doing a presentation, you're standing. Don't wear high heel shoes that are going to pinch your feet. There are times that I do training and I'm on my feet from morning till evening. I can't afford to wear high heel shoes. I will have backache. So wear comfortable shoes, wear comfortable clothes. No, show your chest or show your back and all those things that ladies do. No. Decency at all times. Don't transparent clothes. Watch your panty line. Wear a padded bra. You know, all of that. We don't want to see what we're not supposed to see. Please. We don't want to see. You can see what I'm wearing. We don't want to see what we're not supposed to see. So be very decent and, you know, covered up. Okay. Avoid excess bling, too much jewelry, diamond earrings and all of the rest, because it's distracting. Okay. And then dark colors are always better. Be decent, be comfortable. And like I said, do a full dress rehearsal. Okay. So analyze your venue. How many people are there going to be there? Where is it located? Will I have a podium? Will I have visual aids? Is there going to be a projector? Is there going to be a stage? Is there going to be a microphone? And how are they going to be seated? How long do I need to get there? Make sure that you don't do like what I did this morning, you know, and get the timing mixed up. So if I'm doing a virtual, I need to put that in mind. Understand the timing differences so that you're not going to get late to your presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a 5-minute break right now. I think I've overshot my time. We're going to take a break right now and come back in 5 minutes time. Hello, are we still together? Yes, okay. So let's take a 5-minute break and we come back. So I'm going to play some music, hopefully, and when we come back, when the music stops, you guys should come back. Okay? Okay.
Making myself
Please go. Yes.
Hello. 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 Please be seated.
Are we back? Are we coming back?
Yes, we are back.
Okay, so I hope we were able to stretch our legs a bit, drink some water. So let's go back. Right. So who can? I need two people just to give me a recap of what we've discussed so far. A lady and a gent. Quickly tell me what we've discussed so far, and what you've learned.
Israel.
Yes, I'm waiting. You guys are young people now. Should be smart.
Yeah, I'm here now. Yeah. Yes, I can. Israel. Now, where the answer did that? Okay, you guys can go.
You should go right.
Okay, speak. There's no time. You people are wasting our time. Our time is just.
So, we're learning about public speaking, and one of the things that stood out for me was you need to understand the audience.
Good.
You need to pay attention to the caliber of people you're talking to. If you're
Good.
from the UK, there are some things you don't say. If you're from Nigeria, there are some vocabulary you don't use. And yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, very good. Yeah, my lady, please tell us what you learned so far.
My name is Amara.
And why are they calling you on you? Is there no other person in that class? Amara, I'm giving you the opportunity to call on anybody.
Okay, my name is Amara. One thing that stood out for me is that he said, words are incredible power. So we should be careful of the kind of things we say to people, as this could sort them. And okay, and again, when speaking to people, we should try and analyze the audience.
Okay. Is that the only thing that you people learn since all the English have been speaking? Is to analyze the audience?
No, and our dress sense, so we should dress well to avoid pulling your skirts.
Okay, so let's continue. So now I'll just give you a quick recap. I said, yes, you need to understand your audience. You also need to understand the kind of venue you'll be using. We will talk about virtual presentations in this second session. Is it going to be physical? Is it going to be virtual? You must understand what you are going to say. Most importantly, what is your subject matter? What information are you giving to the people? So is it going to be, I said every presentation you're going to give will do one of four things. It's either to inform, educate, entertain, or motivate. Every single presentation you will give will do one of those two: inform, educate, motivate, or entertain. It will be one of those four. So what is the purpose of your presentation? That is the key thing, because at the end of the presentation, you want your audience to take a particular action. If you're entertaining, you want them to be happy, you want them to laugh. If you're informing, you want that information to be passed across to them. If you are training, like educating, you want them to understand the subject matter that you're talking to them about. And of course, if you are motivating, you want them to take a particular line of action. Maybe, like I said, the example I gave, contribute money to a particular cause, or you want them to change their behavior or something. So every presentation has a purpose. The purpose, everything you do in the presentation will be driven towards achieving that purpose or goal. So let's talk about delivery. There are four methods of delivery. It's either you're doing impromptu speaking, like the exercise we did, continuous story. It was impromptu. You did not know in the morning that you're going to speak in the class. It was impromptu. It could be manuscript speech, like similar what I'm doing right now. I'm using a talking guide. So you already have a document that will help you. It could be a memorized speech, or what we call extemporaneous speaking. So very quickly, let's look. What is impromptu speaking? Like I said, continuous story. That's a very good example of impromptu speaking. So what do you do when people just pumping on you? Maybe you become a politician, or you're in the public eye, and you're just, a reporter comes and says, oh, can you tell us about the Knowledge Center and what they are doing there? You didn't expect it. What do you do? How do you tackle that kind of problem? So first and foremost, these are some things you can do to help you when you are faced with impromptu speaking. Capture the question. What exactly are they asking me to do? Share your thoughts. Identify a main topic or points, and then discuss on that. Then, go to your body and summarize. So just like the continuous story, I started a story. So you need to capture what the story is about. It was about Jack and Jill. What are your thoughts about it? How can you bring that into the topic and say something around it? That's just a point on how you can address impromptu speaking. Now, what's a manuscript speech? It's a speech that is read verbatim, word for word. And when do we use it? It's usually used when you know that whatever you say is going to be heavily scrutinized. For example, you're a politician and you're giving your manifest. You know that the press are going to read every line in your manifest. You said you would give us tax relief. You said you would give us free education. You said so they're going to read everything in. So you don't want to be misquoted. You do not want them to say what you did not say. You use a manuscript and you read it verbatim, word for word. That way, nobody can misquote you. You can go back to the manuscript and say. So that is a manuscript kind of speech. So where do we use it? Maybe in the court of law where they can quote you. The pastors use it as well when they want to give us a sermon. They can give us the scriptures. Politicians manifest. So what are the things to avoid? Don't be caught up in reading that you forget to connect with your audience. Don't just read and read and read. You have to connect with the audience. So that's one of the downfalls of that kind of speech. How about a memorized speech? We all remember Dr. Martin Luther King and his famous speech, I have a dream. We all remember the speech, and we know that he gave that speech from memory. He did not read anything. He was giving it from memory because he had rehearsed it so many times that he was able to commit it to memory. So what's the pitfall? The pitfall is that you might forget a part of your speech or what you wanted to say at a particular point, So you might also forget a particular gesture that supports the speech. So if you're going to do a memorized speech, you have to rehearse, and rehearse. Not until you get it right, but you rehearse until you cannot get it wrong. So that's a memorized speech, okay? It's a speech committed word for word to memory. Now, how about extemporaneous speaking? So that's a style of speaking. It's a speech that is carefully prepared, but not written word for word. And we often use it like what I'm doing now. We use it, it's not committed to memory, but we are working from a speaking outline. So my slides present a speaking outline, and we make spur of the moment choices. So most PowerPoint presentations are what? Extemporaneous speaking. So I have a speaking outline and I make choices. Now I've done this particular presentation, I don't know how many times, over 100 times. And each time I do it, I'm never going to say the same thing twice, but I have an outline. I know which points I want to get to at every point in time. This same course I'm doing for you in 2 hours, I do it for business executives and I do it in 3 days. So what you are doing in 2 hours, I do it for executives, and it's a 3-day training with a lot of exercises and activities in between. So it depends on so many other factors when I'm doing this particular presentation, okay? Now, what is this big green monster looking at us like this? How do you deal with stage fright? You've never faced a crowd before, and you have now been given an assignment to face a crowd. It says 76% of experienced speakers have experienced a degree or a level of anxiety because they have to face a crowd. How do you deal with it? So that you can speak confidently, first and foremost, you must know about public speaking. And secondly, you must know your subject matter well. So you can practice, again, practice. Join a club, take opportunities, every opportunity you get to speak. The more you do it, the less frightened you are and the more confident you become. Now, one key thing here is I said, know your subject matter well. So now I am talking to you about public speaking. If you wake me up at night and say, Lady Shaya, come and talk about public speaking, I will be confident. I will know what to say. I will know how, even if I don't have these slides, I'm going to be able to do that presentation. Why? Because I have done it so many times. I'm even writing a book on it. I've done it so many times. I've presented so many times. I understand the subject matter in and out. But if you ask me, Lady Shaya, come and do a presentation on the importance of frogs to the ecosystem, to the ecosystem, the importance of frogs to the ecosystem. I don't know what I don't have a clue. I don't even know what kind of, in fact, I've never seen a live frog in my life to start with. So I will not be able to give that kind of presentation. If you ask me to give it, even if I do my research, I might not be as confident because I don't understand the subject matter well. But when you know your subject matter, if they wake you up from sleep, you will be able to talk about it. So whatever presentation you are giving, ensure that you know your subject matter in and out. Okay, so how do you deal with stage fright? Like I said, gain experience, look for opportunities to speak, think positively about your presentation. Don't look at the negative things or the things that can go wrong. Always stay focused, and then use visual aids. It helps divert attention. So I'm using a PowerPoint. While you might be looking at me, you're also looking at my slides, okay? So how do you handle problems when you're giving a presentation? You have the graveyard shift. You are presenting after a heavy lunch near closing time when people are tired and they are sleeping. How do you make sure that they don't sleep off in your class? You have to keep the class lively. Structure your presentation to have more participatory activities and exercises. This keeps people engaged. So you can see through my presentation, we've done a lot of exercises. I've tried to make it participatory. Sometimes I will tell you to raise your hands. Why am I asking you to do that? One, I do not want you to sleep. And I also want you to be engaged. I want it to be an exciting session, not just, oh, when she's finished, wake me up. No, I want it to be exciting and engaging. So I want to involve you in a lot of activities, okay? So how do you handle people who think they know it all? You know, those people that when you're talking, they're like, what is she saying? I know how to do this thing. She should stop disturbing her life. And they keep on interjecting your presentation. You need to involve them in the discussion. Don't try to shut them down because they actually might have helpful insight. So yes, like I told you, I speak at Lagos Business School. So I'm speaking to I'm talking to CEOs and managing directors and heads of region and country managers and country managers. So these people, they are well learned, they are well experienced. They are some of them are even more experienced than myself. Yes. Sometimes, you have to actually allow them to express themselves because some of them actually have a lot of useful insights that can even help me. So you need to be open to criticism, open to new ideas, but you also need to control the class. You don't want them to talk off points and take you out of the subject matter that you are coming to discuss. So class activity time, fun time again. So now I need, how many volunteers do I need? I think about 4 or 5. I think 5 people. 5 people, we're going to play a game. So I'm going to give you a word and you have to confidently create a definition for the word and explain it to the class.
Amara.
Why are we calling Amara again now? She has come up how many times? Okay, so did you understand the assignment? Do we understand the assignment?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to give now, the word I'm going to give you, those words don't have any meaning. So don't try and look for dictionary meaning. They don't have any meaning. The purpose of this assignment is impromptu speaking, right? I'm going to put a word on the screen now. You are going to confidently create in your mind a definition for the word. And you're going to convince your classmates that that is the definition of the word. Do we understand? So if I create a word and I say jagaban, no, let me use that word. If I say go pee, and I've gotten a fictitious word, go pee, and I'm now going to define it. Go pee is actually a type of mirror. That mirror has 2 sides, a front and a back, and whatever way you look at it, you can see your reflection on both sides at the same time. Now, what I have just said is absolute cock and bull. There's no go pee, and there's no mirror that has 2 sides at the same time. But I have said it in a way that is convincing to you. So now, who is number 1? Who is number 2? Okay, I will give you numbers then. I can't stand. Can you give yourself number? Oh, yeah, number 1, raise your hand. Number 1. Number 1 has raised. Number 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's go. So Baba Momon, number 1. Tell us the definition of Baba Momon.
Baba Momon is a word that is used to describe that I want to do something very, very urgent. So for example, you are in a setting and then you want to ease yourself. You can say, I want to Baba Momon.
Very good. Please clap for her. Clap for her. That was a good one. Right. Number 2. Perengrity.
Okay. When you express yourself, how you your words, how you describe the situation. Like, for example, when you traffic and you don't want to tell the person that this is where you are. So you use your
you're not sounding convincing to me at all.
perengrity situation.
Clap for him. Nice try. Okay, number 3. Endoplura. Endoplura. Okay, sound has gone off for me here. I can't hear you.
Endoplura is a situation whereby you are in a gathering with your friend. Let me say you are in a gathering, you are attending to maybe you have a right of somewhere. So, and you are, let's say you are 5 in number, and someone is bringing a suggestion, and the others are like, no, this is not. Please stop endoplaming what you don't understand.
Okay, clap for her, clap for her. But what does it mean now? You've not told me what it is. You only give us example of how to use it. Oh my goodness. And the plural, what does it mean? No, you've not told me the meaning. You just told me how to use it.
Okay, like I said, that someone is bringing a suggestions and others are like, no, this suggestion is not welcome. Like,
okay, so that's what it means. Okay, very good, nice one. Right, concatenation.
Okay, concatenation actually has a meaning. It's a function in Excel that is used to join fields together. For example, you have maybe a field for first name, you have and here you can concatenate so that the result will be addition. I'm sorry, a combination of the 2 fields you are trying to join. You can have maybe Latifat in first name, you can have a Fashino in last name, and probably address pass. Maybe the address stays in America. So by the time you concatenate it, brings down Latifat.
Okay, lovely, very well done. And the last person. Okay, putrefy.
Putrefy. This is simply put to says this is loving something without a basis. So you can say I love plantain putrefy. So it's like, oh, I love plantain. I can kill for plantain. I can die for plantain. I can do everything for plantain.
Okay, well done, well done. Okay, thank you, everybody. You can go back to your seats. Well done. That was good. Clap for them. Okay, there was one more. Right. So let's quickly go on. Evaluation and feedback. I'm running for time. So after you've done your presentation, you need to evaluate. Ask yourself, did I do well? How did I speak? Like I said, record yourself. When you record yourself and you watch yourself, you will see all the things that you did that you shouldn't have done, and you can make corrections. You can also get feedback from your friends. Maybe you're going to present somewhere. Carry a friend along. Let the friend watch you and see what you're doing. If you're not doing it well, your friend will give you feedback and say, oh dear, you shouldn't have said this. You were throwing your hands around too much. You were distracting your audience. You were not making eye contact. Everything that you did that you were not doing properly, your friend could help you. So let's quickly look at the use of visual aids. What's a visual aid? Anything that helps you or supports you to speak. And like I said, our PowerPoint presentation is a visual aid. You could also use props. You could use anything to demonstrate. So your slides, graphs and charts, pictures, whiteboard. I can even use an object. I'm holding a brush now. I don't know if you can, okay, because of my screen, you can't see the brush. So I'm holding a brush. If I want to demonstrate something, I want to illustrate, I can use this as a prop to explain what I am talking about. Okay, anything like that is a prop. Now let's quickly go through PowerPoint. I'm sure all of us can use PowerPoint. So your information should be clear, simple, progressive, and consistent. Use clear fonts so you can see the font on my slides. They're not small. You can see them. Less text is better. Keep your fonts consistent. Don't overcrowd your slides. Bigger font is better. And then watch use of colors. So if you look at my presentation, I have maintained the same colors: purple, dark gold. You won't, in all of these slides, you're not going to see red and green. That's not my color concept. So try and have 3 or 4 main colors in every presentation. Do not go outside those 4 colors or 3 colors max. So black and white are constant, but outside of that black and white, 2 to 3 major. So if you're using red and yellow, let it be red and yellow throughout. Don't use red and yellow on slide 1. On slide 2 is green and orange. On slide 3 is purple and pink. No, that would be confusing. Use a template or create your own. You can also substitute text for images. Keep white backgrounds, especially if you're going outside to present. If you're going outside, it has happened to me before. I went outside to present and they don't have a white screen. I had to present on a colored wall. So all the colors of my slides were changed. So if your white backgrounds are good, be creative and use images wisely, okay? You can also insert media, like you saw a video I inserted. You can have music, videos, pictures, and what have you. You could also do a voiceover and animate your transitions, okay? Microsoft PowerPoint, the new latest version, has an auto designer. So sometimes when you do your slide, it will automatically create a design for you, so you don't have to do too much creation. You can also play around with shapes, icons, and to add to your slide, okay? And this is just these are 2 sites that you can get free PowerPoint templates. So let's quickly look at some examples of PowerPoint. Look at this example, for example. If I were to do a slide like this, can you see what is written there? If you think this is a good slide, can you see what's on that slide? It's very complicated, isn't it? How about this one? Can you read it? Can anybody here read this slide? Then how about this one? You can see the colors are not very nice. So you need to watch how you use your slides. Now, let's go to virtual presentations. I am doing a virtual presentation, and COVID has made us go online, okay? So with the pandemic, a lot of organizations have turned, they have reduced physical contact, and everybody has done what's gone online. So trainings, meetings, presentations are all done online, and we have to learn the proper way to use it. So what should we do? Prepare. Number 1, ensure your internet connection is good, preferably a Wi-Fi. Now, I am in London. I know that my internet is good, but when I was in Nigeria, in fact, I remember I was doing a presentation for this, for I think your previous sets. And I remember that there was a time that the internet just went. I had about 2 different sources of internet, and none of them, it just went off completely. So try and get a very good internet connection. Do a test run a few days before the event. Try and log on early. Do not do like what I did today. And then know how to use the platform. So Zoom is what most of us use these days. So everybody, I know how to use Zoom very well. But sometimes I get a situation where they ask me to present on a platform I'm not used to. So I remember I've done a presentation for an organization and they had their own peculiar software. It's always advisable to log on maybe a day before and familiarize yourself with the platform so that you know how to share your screen, you know where the microphone is, you know how to change your background, you know how to do all of these things before the day of the presentation. You don't want to be embarrassed on that day, okay? When you're sharing your screen, make sure that you keep only the needed windows open. I've seen a case where somebody was trying to share her screen and I was seeing her desktop, and we were seeing all sorts of things on that desktop that we're not supposed to see. So make sure that you understand how to use screen share and you don't share what you're not supposed to share. Don't share classified information. Ensure your equipment is fully charged or plugged into a power source. And then finally, dress fully. Don't say that, oh, they're only going to see my top. I can wear boxer shorts or I can wear bomb shorts underneath. Nobody's going to see me. It's important that you dress completely because you might have to stand up during the presentation and you might have forgotten to put off your camera. There was an incident of a lady who was at a meeting and she forgot to put off her camera and she took the laptop to the toilets. So, and of course, everybody was watching her go to the toilets on the screen. So you have to be careful. Don't do silly things. If you're going to the toilet, you don't necessarily have to carry your laptop to the toilet. Or if you do, make sure you put off your camera. Better still, take an excuse. I want to step away from my system for 2 minutes and go and come back. So you want to avoid all of those kind of embarrassing situations. So let's watch this short video.
Scandals happen all the time. The question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals?
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. My apologies.
What's this going to mean for the region?
Scandals happen all the time. The question is, how do democracies respond to those?
Okay. So, how many of us saw what happened in the video? Raise your hand. Did you see what happened in the video? Raise your hand if you saw what happened. Okay, so you saw what happened. Now, that man was on CNN having an interview on CNN, virtual interview, and you saw his children and his wife come into the room while he was on air, so to say. You want to avoid that kind of situation. And how do you avoid it? Number one, look for an environment that is clean and quiet, right? That's one. He did that quite okay. Now, your background. I always advise this. Do not back an open room. Back a wall. So behind me is a wall. If I remove my background, I have a wall. Why do I have a wall behind me? So if somebody should actually come into this room while I'm doing this presentation, the person cannot come behind me because I have a wall. I'm sitting back in a wall. The person can come in and go in front of me. None of you will see that person. So I always advise, back the wall. Don't back an open room. If you back an open room, somebody can come into the room and be doing all sorts of things behind you, might, and your audience will see. The second thing is, let the lights, you need to face the lights. Now, I have an extra light. If I put it off now, you can see my face has suddenly gone dark. The light is in front of me. If you go on Jumia, there are all these, those of you that do selfies and videos for YouTube, there are some very cheap lights that you can buy, 1,500, 2,000 naira. Plug it into your laptop or your phone or whatever, and then, so that it brightens your face. So face the light. If you don't have an external light, you can face the window. Don't back the window. Face the window so that your face will be brighter. Okay, when you're doing presentations, okay? I don't know why my system is... Okay, right. So normal, as usual, during your presentation, we know the normal thing. We have ground rules, mute your mic, encourage use of video so that people are not, so that you can see that people are actually participating. And of course, use all the functions. If you want to chat, raise your hands and all of that. I'm not going to go. So like I was saying, these are some of the equipment that you can buy. This is a microphone, this lapel pin mic, and then of course the screen, the lighting, it's all these are ring lights. And then for those of us using phones, it will also hold your phone so that you can do a decent presentation. So now we're going to go into a class activity now. And you're going to have about 15 minutes, I think, from what we agreed on the timetable. Okay, so you have a breakout assignment. I'm going to give you maybe 15, 20 minutes for your assignment. So I understand you already have groups. So you're going to do 2 presentations. Now, number 1 is going to be an informational PowerPoint presentation of about 5 slides. And the second one is going to be a motivational speech without slides. So in your group, you are going to choose, each group will choose 2 representatives, okay? One person will do the informational presentation, and the other one will give the motivational speech without slides. So you have 2 presentations you're going to work with, and I advise you use 10 minutes to arrange each, or I don't know how many people in each group. If you're smart, you will subdivide your group into 2. One set of people will work on the information, the other set of people we can work on the motivation. So you're going to do 2 presentations, one with slides. The informational presentation will have slides, and the one that is motivation, no slides. So you're going to speak, without your slides, but you have your talking points, okay? So I think the topics have been shared with you. So we have the informational topics, state of Nigerian roads and suggested solution, social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly, things you should consider before starting a business, unemployment in Nigeria and what needs to be done, insecurity, and the need for critical attention. That's for information. And then for motivation, you have the power of words, why you should exercise your rights to vote. I hope you are registered to vote. From grass to grace, falling does not mean failure. Don't give up. Destroy the defeat in mind and you will destroy its existence. Then the future depends on what you do today. So these are the topics for motivation. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our breakout sessions. And I think we have about 20 minutes for that. So you can break out now and start your sessions. So we come back. What time is it now? It's about 12, well, it's about 11 o'clock. What time is it? Yeah. What time is it your end now?
I only have 10 minutes for the to work on the class activity because I gave them since yesterday when you sent it to me.
Okay, so they've done it already.
Yes, so just 10 minutes will be fine.
Okay, fine, no wahala. So 10 minutes past 1. Just
1:10.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Okay, can we start to round up? We have 2 minutes. Yep. Can we? Yeah.
Everyone, kindly seated, please. Hello, everyone, kindly get seated, please. So, hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, are we set?
So we have 10 groups, and 2 groups have identical topics, so making it 5 altogether, like we did yesterday.
Okay.
So two groups have identical topics. So, but we have 10 groups altogether. So that makes it like five groups.
Okay.
Okay. So, how do you want to go about this, man?
Okay, so what I want to do, random selection. Obviously, we cannot take all the whole 10 groups. It's not possible. Okay. So I would just choose group. The groups, okay. Are they 1 to 10 or what?
Let me just send you. I'll send you something that can help you locate the group.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you sending it to me on WhatsApp or where are you sending it?
I'm sending it on WhatsApp. Okay. Okay, let me just call the groups. So, first time. Okay, so we have, because this time around we've added technical skills, so we group them according to their specialization. So after the skills, they are going to go into technical skills. So we have specializations with it. So we have content writing group 1, we have data analysis group 1, data analysis group 2, data analysis group 3, data analysis group 4, digital marketing group 1, digital marketing group 2, HR and admin group 1, HR and admin group 2, HR and admin group 3.
Okay, so basically you have HR and admin, digital marketing, data analysis, and which one again? Content.
Right.
Okay, so so I want content creation. I don't know which of the groups. At least one person from one representative from content marketing to give us an informational presentation.
Okay. Content.
Someone from data analysis to give us motivation.
Group 2 data analysis representative, please.
Or motivational presentation.
Okay. Informational for content writing, motivational for data analysis group 2.
And digital marketing. I want somebody from that to give us information, the information presentation.
So is that informational or motivational? Digital marketing group 1. Is that informational?
Yeah. And then the last group was what did you call it? HR, Abby?
So
HR. HR motivation.
HR group 3 representative, please. Everybody out.
Okay, so those 4 people.
Motivation for HR group 3.
Yeah. So I don't know how you're going
content
to.
writing.
Oh, there's still
Content writing group. Content creation, content writing, the way we said it. Group 1 are going to work on informational. Data analysis, group 2 are going to work on motivational. Digital marketing will work on informational. Then are doing group 3 work on motivational.
Okay, so I want to see your presentations. I don't know, how are they going to do those that are using slides? How are they going to do this? How are they going to show the slides?
How many people have information? You don't have. Why are you there? So I should have 5 people there. So 4. It's 5. The group is 10. 1 each. Okay. Content writing group 1. Information. Data analysis group 2. Okay. Digital marketing. Digital marketing group 1. Information. And HR group 3. Motivation. That's all. Okay, we have 4. So for the information, are they to share their slides?
Yes, but I don't know how you're going to do that. Should I stop my own share?
Yes, stop sharing. So for the people that are for how many information do we have? 2. 2. 2. So you have the slides. Yes. Why are you pointing? Okay, so I've sent the link to the group. So who should I share the link? So what's your name now? What's your name? Have you joined? You don't know your name? Okay. Okay. So I think for the motivational people should go first. Yes. Why we start sharing the information. So the motivational people, 2 people, please. There's no time. Motivational 2 people. So group, tell us your group, your name.
And can somebody please direct the camera to where they are, because I can't see them. I'm seeing only the. Okay.
Okay, so I want the motivationals to start first while we figure out the informational to share the slides.
Okay, fantastic. All right.
Good afternoon, Mark. My name is Ifebuzo Amarachi Perpetua, Data Analytics Group 2. I'll be speaking on the reason why you should vote. So, vote is a formal indication of choices between 2 or more candidates. And vote is a civic right. We're in Nigeria and we're in a democratic country, so it gives us the opportunity to exercise our choices. So why don't you use the vote? I want to ask, do we all have a voter's card? Please signify. Okay. Yes, I have mine. Exercising your right to vote is paramount for a citizen because The future of the country is largely dependent on its leadership, and the citizens of the country, we are the stakeholders. So now, why do you have to vote? Why? If you vote, you keep the country politically conscious, and it gives you the democratic process alive. It gives the democratic process alive. If you vote, you invest politically for the next generation of the citizens, like the next children. If it's right, they will get it right. If you vote, you will be able to protest when the government when the government are not working in line with your satisfaction. Do's and don'ts. Your do's, please be honest when you're voting. Be honest when you're voting. Your don'ts. Don't sell your vote.
2 minutes more.
Don't sell your vote. Don't be scared to vote for your choice. Don't vote because your mother asked you to vote for this person. Know the reason why you are voting for that candidate. In conclusion, I implore each and every one of us to come out en masse in the next election to vote for your right.
Okay, thank you. Well done. That was a nice attempt.
Okay. Another motivational book.
Before we go on, was she able to motivate us? If you think she motivated you to go and vote, raise your hand. Did she motivate you well?
Yes.
She motivated you to go and vote. Okay. All right, let's go to the next person.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good afternoon. I'm Taiwo Payosi. I am representing HR Group 3. I am here to talk about the future depends on what you do today. Yeah, you always think about the future. You may not seem to have it today. It's not a problem. I agree with you. Things don't seem to work. Circumstances never seem to be in your favor. Don't worry. But I can assure you, your future depends on what you do today. Even if you are not from a rich background, you are not from a well-resourced background, but I can assure you, once you can create it in your mind and diligently work towards it day by day, I can assure you, the sky is just your starting point. Thank you very much.
I can assure you that you did a good job. Okay. Right. That was short and brief, but I really didn't get your points at the end of the day. So I want to ask the house, did you get the points or the points that he was trying to point out?
Yes.
You got it. You got it. Okay, so if you've been able to convince everybody, then that's well done. At least you have accomplished the objective, which is the most important thing. Well done. So let's appreciate the last two speakers. They did a good job. Okay.
So the informational will share their slides now. We are seeing your background.
This is what they just said.
Okay.
Let's see. Sorry.
Maybe you turn your phone to landscape.
Yeah.
Can you turn your phone to landscape so that the slide can be bigger? Okay, better.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Modo Ezine. I'm representing Content Writers Group 1, and I'm here to discuss the state of Nigerian roads and suggested solutions for the government implementation. So we as a country, we have roads. And why do we need roads? We need roads for easy transportation of lives and property. Roads are also used to beautify an environment. So therefore, good roads make an environment more appeasing to the eyes. This 41,709 deaths were caused by bad roads, and this was a research carried out by the Federal Road Safety Commission between the years of 2013 and 2020. Now, out of a population of 260 million people living in, 41,000 seems a very small number, but when you think about it, think about the lives that were lost, and this number is between the ages of these dead people are between the ages of 5 and 29. So you can imagine the roads are taking this much lives, taking this amount of people in just 8 years. And this was carried out in 2020. So we're going to count that in 2020 there were deaths, in 2021 there were deaths, in 2022 we have already 3 months. There are probably accidents that you've heard of that haven't been recorded yet. This was the first ever road that was built in 1906, the Ibadan to Oyo State Road. This road, I think this is like a very current, I don't know how current this picture is, but you can see that this road is still functional. You cannot see potholes now. You can still see the clearly demarcated designs and directions and all of that. Well, even if it was newly renovated, it is still functional and it helps because it will allow the individual people that are driving trucks and all of that to know to see clearly demarcated lines and understand how to follow these roads. Now, these are some of the current state of roads in Nigeria. You can see clearly that cars would find it difficult to move on these roads. These roads cause death. Trailers and trucks. You know how Nigeria is very, very used to carrying fuel tankers that are carrying fuel. How do you expect them to move on this type of roads and deaths will not occur? Now, the cost of maintaining or constructing roads in Nigeria, as of 2019, the cost of maintaining a road was around 100 million to 1 billion. It might have changed with how the country is going and everything is increasing. This price is probably very, very low now. And the cost of constructing as of 2019 was around 300 million to 1.5 billion naira. Now, you can see how expensive it is to make roads. And I was reading, I couldn't put it in because I'm trying not to make my slides bulky. But to build 1 kilometer of road in Nigeria costs 238 million naira. 1 kilometer. You can walk 1 kilometer, but it costs 238 million naira to build 1 kilometer. When you think about all of this, it would be better or it would be sensible to a government that wants the welfare or well-being of his citizens would think of doing early or proper road maintenance to prevent the death of his own or her own citizens. My opinion, suggested solutions for the government concerning the roads. The government should allow citizens to fix or build roads around their neighborhoods. There are some citizens that are willing to bring out money from their own pocket to fix the roads around their places. But the government has decided no, because they would rather allocate funds and then disperse these funds within themselves now to actually ensure that these roads are well fixed to allow easy transportation and safety of its own citizens. Early and proper maintenance of the roads. Nigeria has a poor maintenance culture. And this is showing in everything we do, in our buildings, our roads, but this talk is mainly concerning our roads. And this, if there were early and proper maintenance of the roads, there wouldn't be the need to create or build new roads. If there are little potholes, before these potholes become big or large enough to cause proper damage or harm, they can be filled up with sands or stones, or they know how these things work, but they have decided not to do it. Heavy trucks or vehicles should be considered when building or carrying out road maintenance. Now, the weight of these trucks adversely affect the roads. Maybe the truck is too heavy to cause bridges or the roads to get damaged more faster and quicker. So considering the weight of the trucks while building or bringing out materials or coming up with ideas to fix this road would help prevent rather than correct these issues that bad roads are causing. So if you know or you speak or you know personally any government official that is willing to reason properly to ensure that the safety of citizens are ensured, you can suggest these steps, and even if you have any of your own, so that lives would not be lost as much as we are gaining. Yes, we have a problem of overpopulation or
I'm up.
but yes, thank you.
Well done. Yes, that was a good one. And I like the way you carried the conversation. There was a nice flow of the conversation. Just improve on the introduction because you just like kind of jumped into the whole thing. But yeah, that was a very good one. I think we have how many groups left? 2 more groups? 1 more. Okay. Fantastic.
Where's your slide? Are you using slides?
Yes, I am.
I'm on the group. Have you shared them on the group? Allow for everybody to share.
Okay.
I can't share.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Just put accept everybody. Who needs to do one of them?
Are you sharing slides? You cannot see your slides.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So what's the name? James. Okay, sure. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Lady Shire. Good afternoon, everyone. Please pardon my voice. I'm a bit under the weather, and I'm even craving hot amala. Sauce for more this afternoon. I can't get it. So yes, to the topic. 4 things to consider before starting a business. How many people here have a business? Can I see by a show of hands? Just 1 person, 2, 3, 4. Who else? Oh, nice. So I would like to ask, which business you have? I saw your hand. Samuel, yes. What business do you have? Online merchant. Okay. Amara, I saw your ad. What business do you have? Cocktails. Oh, nice. I saw your hand too. What business? Oh, okay, that's nice. Lovely. Okay, so I am standing here. I'm sure you'll be wondering, do I have a business to advise you to consider starting a business? No, I don't. But I work closely with my sister who has an online clothing store, Shakara House. You can check out on Instagram. The handle is at Shakara House. She sells online fashion. She sells affordable, ready-to-wear clothes for females. And Mother's Day is coming, so you might want to patronize and get something for your mother. So now, 4 things to consider before starting a business. The number 1 point which we have is innate skills and capacity to run the business. Innate skills. We can't even talk about skills. I'm sure we've had a class. In our first class, yes, we had the mind orientation class, and we talked about the fixed and the growth mindset. And I believe that mindset is really key before you even start your business, before we even talk about skills. Mindset. Are you someone that has a negative mindset already? Before starting a business, you're already being negative already, and I feel it's something we need to work on. If you have a negative mindset, please, you need to work on it in order to start a business before proceeding to the skills, because then you need skills. Yes, you might have studied French education, or you might have studied animal husbandry and you want to probably start an online business, or maybe you want to sell shoes or clothes, and then you don't know what to do about it, and you don't have the background in animal husbandry, for instance. I'll use my sister as a case study. She studied mass communication from the University of Lagos, and she really likes fashion, but she didn't really have what to do and how to go about it. But she had to take skills. Even if you take courses like business courses, because initially she had to manage her business. She didn't have anybody to assist her. So she had to take courses on finances. Okay, how do I set a budget and all that? So it is important to have skills, and to do this, you can take courses like I mentioned, and you can do a research on your intending business that you want to pursue. So the next slide, we have legal requirements. Yes, you've gotten the skill, you have a positive mindset. So what is the next thing you need to consider before starting a business? You need to have a plan. And in having your plan, you need to have legal requirements. You need to know, okay, do I need approval from a body? Do I need to register register with the Corporate Affairs Commission? Like, you need to consider these things before starting a business. You can't just wake up in the morning and just believe that you have a problem to solve without putting these things in check. So the next slide, I would say financial or capital requirements. This is very, very important. I know how many people say, oh, capital has been a setback for them before starting a business. So you need to plan in advance. You need to think of, okay, how am I going to raise capital? I'm sure many people know about Tony Elumelu Foundation, and they'll be using that as a podium, as a medium to get capital for their business. So you need to set a plan, make a plan, think of how, okay, you want to get finances. Do you want to take a loan from a friend? Do you want to take a loan from a bank? How will you go about this? So you need to make a plan and also think of alternatives to explore in order to do this. The last slide, it says require documentation. Yeah, I believe you need to have like a vision and mission statement. Okay, why do I want to do this business? Why do I want to start a business? Is it because of the profit? Is it because of my friends are doing it? Or is it because it's trending? Or what problem do I have to solve? So you need to have a vision and a mission statement. Know why you're starting this business, because it is very, very important. And you also need to create a business plan. I know we've talked about plans here a lot. So create a job hunting strategy, create a job plan, create a career plan, and all that. It is very important in a business that you have a business plan, because without this, you won't be able to, you will just be walking in circles. It's almost like you don't have a set goal, you don't have a target, you don't know what you're doing. So for Shakara House, for instance, using my sister as a case study, she has a business plan. Okay, she knows, okay, who am I using? Am I going to use influencer marketing? Am I going to do what word of mouth? Is it just speaking to people to market my business? Am I going to use influencers? Am I going to use social media? Like, you need to consider these things when you're making a plan for your business. So without much talk here, I hope I've been able to convince you, especially those that don't have businesses like me, I hope I've been able to convince you to take these steps to start the business. Thank you very much.
Well done, well done, well done.
Okay, I think that's all, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Well done, everybody. On the last speaker, you had very salient points. That was very good. But I just want to point out, understand the meanings of the words you use. You wrote inert ability. I'm sure you mean innate ability. So go and look at the meaning of the word inert, I-N-E-R-T, and then go and look at the meaning of the word innate, I-N-N-A-T-E. You're getting them mixed up. The second thing I want to point out is that good enough, we are seeing your slides virtually. When you're doing a virtual presentation, you can get away with using smaller fonts because it's close up and we can still read it. However, if you're doing this same presentation with a smaller screen, your participants would have challenges in reading the things on your slide. The words are too many. So you might want to, it's better to stay with bullet points. Keep the explanation to your slide notes. That's just for your consumption. but stick with bullet points. There was too much words on your slides, but apart from that, the points were really, really well laid out. That was a good job. So congratulations. Okay, so let me, can I have access to share my slide again, please? So we can wrap up.
Yes, you can share.
Okay, so can everybody, can you redirect the camera so I can see them, because I'm seeing empty chairs right now. Okay, so if you can see my slides, let me just wave your hands at me. Okay, right, very good. So we are going to wrap up now. It's been a very interesting conversation. So what are the things that we've looked at today? So we had looked at what a presentation is. We started our conversation by looking at the power of words and the effect that words have on people. Everything you're going to be doing in a presentation is to convince your audience to take a particular line of action. We've just listened to 4 people speak. Somebody has given us some pointers to why we should start a business and how we can start a business. Another person talks about the need for us to go and vote. They've all said different things to us. The question is, at the end of their presentations, how were you affected? How did it motivate it? How did it motivate it? How did it motivate you? Did it challenge you to go out there and do something differently? So we've looked at the power of words. We've looked at what a presentation is. We looked at the presentation flowchart, which is basically how we can put our presentations together. First of all, we accepted the assignment. So I gave you an assignment. In your groups, you were to do certain things. So you have accepted that assignment to say, yes, we are going to do a presentation, on an informative presentation and a motivational presentation. We've said analyze your audience. Of course, you know the audience that you had to speak to, they're your classmates. And so you could use examples that were familiar to them. I like the example that the last speaker gave. She said that she has a sister who has a business and you can find the business on Instagram. That is something that is familiar to you. If you're speaking to a 90-year-old woman, for example, she might not know what you people call Instagram. She might not know how to access Instagram. You'll be speaking a completely different language, but the person has been able to come up with something that all of us can identify with. So they had a good knowledge of the audience that they were talking to. Looking at the occasion, is it a formal occasion? Is it informal? And we've said analyze the objectives. Is it to inform, educate, persuade, or entertain? Every presentation that you will do will fall into one of these 4 categories. And then we went on to talk about the how to prepare the presentation. And I said you need to be mindful of the ethics. Don't say what you don't know. Don't say what is not true. We talked about your diction. We talked about body language and how to, that should be introduction, sorry, the body and the conclusion. So we've talked about how do you, and I noticed something that almost all 4 of you did not come in with a very powerful introduction. It's always important, even if it's a quote. I know that the time was short, 4 minutes or 5 minutes. You could have just given us one quote. Maybe for the lady that talked about voting, you could have given us a quote about voting or exercising your rights or something like that. Maybe like, your vote is your power, go and vote, something like that. So always remember that there must be something to introduce you into the topic and then conclude. I think everybody gave a very strong conclusion. Prepare your delivery, your clothes, your grooming, your language, and then of course, deliver the presentation and evaluate. So what I'm telling you now, the feedback I'm giving you now, is I am evaluating the presentations that you gave, okay? And then we talked about visual aids and how to use PowerPoint. And I think the 2 presentations I've seen today, they had a good use of PowerPoint. And then of course we went into virtual presentations and, good enough that today, the 2 people that presented, you actually had to use Zoom to do your presentation. So you can see how flexible the platform is and how effective it can be when using it to do presentations. So going back to what we said at the beginning, I did say that people might forget what you said and they might forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So in your presentation, how did you make people feel? Did you make them happy? Did you make them sad? Did you motivate them to go out there and do something differently? We also said that words are very powerful. A war will never be started. A family will never be formed. Relationships are never created, nor are nations born without words. Words are all we need. So, ladies and gentlemen, will your presentation make people soar, or will your presentation make people soar? Let's make people soar. Thank you. Okay, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
If you have questions, let me take your questions now. Any questions?
Any questions? Any?
Sorry, the last my question is your ending what like for this? Yeah, the part where you made us know that family will not be formed, relationships will not be.
The quote, yeah.
Who is the author or who said this? I just want to.
Okay, like I said, I took it from that. Let me even see if I put from that. You know, I showed you a video at the beginning. The video that I took that quote from. The man is a South African speaker. So it was, if you listen to this clip I showed you at the beginning, this was the poem that he quoted. So that's where I took it from.
Okay.
Any other question?
Somebody had got
Sorry, hold on, ma'am.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I just move away now. I would like to have a copy of that word. The family will never be.
Okay. Okay, I can give it to your coordinator and he can send it to you. All right. Any other thing? Any other question? Any other? And like I said, connect with me on LinkedIn. I hope that when I open my LinkedIn, I will see all your connection requests. If you have any further questions, you want to connect with me after now, I am very, very much available. If you need mentoring, you need advice, career advice, or whatever, you can always reach out to me. So just connect with me on LinkedIn. You can send me a personal message. I'm available. Okay. So any other?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much,
Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to just a minute, please. Thank you very much, Ma, for the wonderful presentation. And I'm sure everybody must have learned one of the things. One of the major things I like about this class is the lot of class activities and interaction. And it feels as if you are even here with us. That distance, we couldn't feel it because of the powerful interactions that we have. So I would like to call on one person here on behalf of the class to really thank you and appreciate you for the time that you have. Like she said, she lectures in Lagos Business School and she lectures executives and things like that. But she has been able to create time to do this for us without charging anything. And so please do that very, very well, because she's really taking her time to do this, and it's a lot of sacrifice for her. So who will help us do you have done before? I need somebody who has not done that before. Both of kinds.
Let that take
All right. Good afternoon, Lady Shine.
Yeah.
Thank you. So on behalf of my erudite colleagues, we want to say a very big thank you for being part of our journey into greatness. I'm sure everyone here has a bright story and something wonderful to tell tomorrow, and it will be so amazing to have you
as being part of that story, contributing with KEC. I want to say thank you very much. Your presentation was an example of what you taught. You didn't just teach, you did. I want to say thank you very much for teaching.
Okay, thank you so much. All right.
I look forward to seeing you in the future and connecting and all that. Thank you very much.
All right then, yeah. And anytime you're in London, I'm here.
Thank you very much, Ma. I'll reach out back to you via WhatsApp, via email. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful
Okay then. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.